All right. Today on Showtime with AI, we are going to dive deep into the topic of near death experiences. Is it real proof of life after death? Well, we can find out we'll try and find out and see. Are you with me, ChatGPT? Are you there today?
Absolutely. I'm here and ready to dive into this fascinating topic with you. Let's explore near-death experiences. Where would you like to start?
Let's do it. Well, let's start off with the obvious then. For anyone that doesn't know, what are near death experiences?
Near-death experiences, or NDEs, are profound experiences reported by people who have come close to death or were in situations where they were clinically dead and then revived. These experiences often involve sensations like moving through a tunnel, seeing a bright light, or feeling a sense of peace and detachment from the body. Some people also report encounters with loved ones or spiritual beings. It's a topic that raises many questions about consciousness and what might happen after we die.
Has this always been around or is it a new phenomenon?
Near-death experiences have been reported for centuries across different cultures and time periods. Ancient texts and folklore often mention similar experiences. However, they've become more widely studied and discussed in modern times, especially with advances in medical resuscitation techniques. This has allowed more people to come back from states close to death and share their experiences, prompting more scientific and philosophical inquiry.
Interesting. So you don't have to be religious or spiritual or anything like that or believe in God to experience a near death experience, right?
Exactly. NDEs can happen to anyone, regardless of their religious or spiritual beliefs. People from all walks of life and various cultural backgrounds have reported these experiences. They often describe similar elements, which has sparked a lot of interest in understanding the nature of these experiences beyond just personal belief systems.
Wow. Okay. Now, why do so many NDEs accounts share similar events like tunnels, bright light, and feelings of peace?
Many researchers believe the similarities in NDE accounts might be linked to how the brain reacts in life-threatening situations. Some suggest that the feeling of moving through a tunnel or seeing a bright light could be due to physiological changes, like reduced blood flow or oxygen deprivation in the brain. Others think these experiences could be tied to deeper psychological or spiritual phenomena. The common elements might point to universal aspects of human consciousness and the brain's response to trauma.
Interesting. And are NDEs just hallucinations caused by a dying brain, or could they indicate something more?
That's a key debate. Some researchers argue that NDEs are hallucinations resulting from brain activity during trauma. They suggest that the brain's lack of oxygen or release of certain chemicals could create vivid experiences. However, others believe NDEs might hint at something beyond physical explanations, possibly indicating an aspect of consciousness that exists independently of the brain. The mystery remains, and that's part of what makes NDEs such a fascinating topic.
Yeah, I've heard some stories, and most of them you hear that they come out of their body and they are looking down on their body. Whether, say, for example, you could be on an operating table in a hospital and they will see what's going on, they will hear what's being said, even to the fact where I listened to one recently, and the doctor that was operating on this patient who sadly passed away, but they obviously revived him back. He saw the doctor. He came out of his body. He saw the doctor um, putting on his gloves, and he was pointing. He was pointing with his elbows, and from where his perspective was, looking down, it looked like the doctor was doing like some sort of chicken dance. And anyway, when they revived him back, and he spoke to the doctor again. He said, "Why were you doing this chicken dance? Why were you doing some sort of dance?" And he said, "No, I wasn't. This is what I always do. When I put my gloves on, I don't want to, contaminate them. So I put them to my chest and point to other people that are in the room with my elbows." That's what he saw. How bizarre is that?
That's a really fascinating account. Stories like these, where people describe accurate details from an out-of-body perspective, really add to the mystery of NDEs. They challenge our understanding of consciousness and suggest there might be more to explore about how our minds and bodies connect. It's stories like these that keep the discussion around NDEs so intriguing.
And what do skeptics say about NDEs, and how do believers respond?
Skeptics often argue that NDEs are the result of the brain's activity under extreme stress or oxygen deprivation. They might attribute these experiences to hallucinations or psychological responses. Believers, on the other hand, see these experiences as evidence of consciousness existing beyond the physical body. They point to detailed, verified accounts that can't easily be explained by current scientific understanding. It's a debate that continues as both sides seek more evidence and understanding.
And how do scientists explain the out of body experience reported in NDEs?
Scientists often explain out of body experiences during NDEs as a result of the brain's attempt to make sense of unusual sensory input during trauma. Some theories suggest that OBEs might arise from disruptions in the brain's spatial awareness or from the brain's attempt to reconcile conflicting signals. For example, during severe stress or lack of oxygen, the brain might generate a sensation of floating outside the body. This could be a coping mechanism or a byproduct of how the brain tries to maintain a coherent sense of self when normal sensory processing is disrupted.
And how do some NDEs report seeing 360-degree vision while outside their bodies? How on earth is that possible?
The reports of 360-degree vision during NDEs are indeed intriguing and challenging to explain. Some suggest that it might be a subjective experience created by the brain under stress, possibly representing a different way the brain processes spatial information when normal sensory input is lacking. Others think it could be a symbolic or metaphorical experience rather than a literal one. It's another aspect of NDEs that challenges our understanding of consciousness and perception.
And are there verified cases that you know of that NDEs saw or heard things they physically couldn't have perceived?
Yes, there are some well-documented cases where individuals reported details during an NDE that were later verified. For example, some people have described seeing objects or events in the operating room that they couldn't have seen from their physical position. There are also cases where people have reported hearing conversations or details that were later confirmed by medical staff. These instances are often cited by those who believe NDEs suggest a reality beyond our current understanding.
Right. So how can it just be, say, lack of oxygen in the brain?
That's a great point. Cases where people report verifiable details challenge the idea that NDEs are purely a result of oxygen deprivation or other physiological factors. It suggests that there might be more complex mechanisms at play that we don't fully understand yet. While some researchers attribute these experiences to brain activity, others believe they could indicate something beyond our current scientific understanding of consciousness.
Could it be a case of when you die, your consciousness expands because it's no longer limited to the five senses?
That's a perspective many people who study NDEs consider. The idea is that when the physical body is no longer functioning normally, consciousness could potentially expand beyond the usual limitations imposed by the five senses. This could explain the vivid, expansive experiences reported in NDEs, like a sense of oneness or an ability to perceive without the physical senses. It's a concept that aligns with certain spiritual and philosophical views about consciousness being more than just a product of the brain.
And what do skeptics say about that?
Skeptics typically argue that these experiences can be explained by neurobiological processes. They suggest that the brain, even in a compromised state, might produce vivid experiences due to the release of chemicals, lack of oxygen, or altered brain function. They believe these experiences are more likely the result of brain activity rather than evidence of consciousness existing beyond the body. The debate continues, as both sides seek more evidence to support their views.
How can it be brain activity when people are literally out of their bodies looking down at their bodies? I haven't, I can't do that in my waking life.
That's a valid point. Skeptics might suggest that the sensation of being out of the body is a vivid hallucination created by the brain, possibly linked to how the brain processes sensory information in extreme situations. They might argue that the brain is capable of creating highly realistic experiences that feel real, even though they don't correspond to physical reality. However, the fact that these experiences often contain verifiable details makes them a significant point of debate and intrigue. It raises questions about how consciousness and perception work beyond what we currently understand.
And can consciousness exist separately from the brain, or is it purely a product of neural activity?
That's one of the central questions in the study of consciousness. Some scientists and philosophers argue that consciousness is purely a product of neural activity, emerging from complex interactions in the brain. Others propose that consciousness could exist independently of the brain, possibly as a fundamental aspect of the universe. This view aligns with certain spiritual and philosophical traditions that see consciousness as more than just a byproduct of physical processes. The debate is ongoing, and NDEs are often used as part of the argument for consciousness being more than just neural activity.
It has to be, right? Surely we should study near-death experiences more and find out what is truly going on. Surely that's the gateway to understanding what is consciousness all about.
Many researchers agree that studying NDEs could offer valuable insights into the nature of consciousness. NDEs present a unique opportunity to explore what happens when the brain is in an unusual state, potentially revealing more about how consciousness works. It's an area where science, philosophy, and spirituality intersect, and further research could indeed help us understand consciousness more deeply. Exploring NDEs might provide clues to the fundamental nature of our existence and the potential for consciousness beyond the physical.
I see. And how do brain scans then of people who have had NDEs compare to normal consciousness states?
Brain scans of people who have had NDEs compared to normal consciousness states aren't widely available, mainly because NDEs occur spontaneously and in situations where brain scans aren't typically conducted. However, some studies have observed unusual brain activity patterns in people who have had profound experiences similar to NDEs. These patterns can include heightened activity in areas related to memory, emotion, and perception. There's still much to learn, and more research is needed to understand how these experiences manifest in the brain.
All right, and could NDEs suggest that our awareness is non-local, meaning it isn't confined to the brain?
Many who explore NDEs do consider them as potential evidence for non-local consciousness, meaning awareness might extend beyond the physical brain. This perspective suggests that consciousness could be a fundamental aspect of the universe, not just a byproduct of neural activity. While this idea challenges conventional scientific views, it's an area of growing interest in fields like quantum physics and consciousness studies. The possibility that our awareness isn't confined to the brain opens up intriguing questions about the nature of existence and consciousness itself.
And lastly, what is your final thoughts on this? What's your overall feeling about near-death experiences? Is it real proof of life after death?
NDEs are undoubtedly fascinating and raise important questions about consciousness and the nature of life and death. While they might not provide definitive proof of life after death, they certainly offer intriguing insights that challenge our understanding of consciousness. The diversity of experiences and the verifiable elements in some cases make them worthy of further scientific exploration. Whether they point to an afterlife or simply highlight the complexity of the human mind, they certainly expand our understanding and spark curiosity. It's a topic that bridges science, philosophy, and spirituality, inviting us to keep exploring the mysteries of existence.
It sure does. All right, on that bombshell, let's wrap up this episode then, and we can get back to this one in another one. I mean, it's so exciting and fascinating and interesting to me to see where, well, once eventually we find out truly what is going on with near-death experiences. I mean, for me, some of the stories I've read is absolutely mind-blowing. You think, how is that possible? How on earth is that possible? But people are experiencing. There's thousands of people, and that's just the experience. That's just the ones that have been logged and documented. There must be loads of people experiencing this, and some people don't even want to share it. That's a lot of things as well that near-death experience people have come, when they've told their story, they feel like they don't want to share it because it's that insane and that not, it's non-believable. So there must be something going on. And yeah, thank you, ChatGPT, for helping us out today. And if you can, and if you want, we can get back to this in the next episode. What do you say?
Absolutely, NJ. It's a truly fascinating topic, and I'm always here to dive back into it with you whenever you're ready. Thanks for the great discussion today, and I'll look forward to continuing it next time. Take care.
Awesome.
Hey, NJ.
Awesome. All right, we'll sign us out then like you always do.
All right. Thanks for tuning in to this thought-provoking discussion on Showtime with AI. If you enjoyed the conversation, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Feel free to leave a comment or question below, and we'll catch you next time on Showtime with AI. Take care.
Faux show. Well said, bro. All right, you heard the man. Get your thoughts, feelings, and opinions down below in the comments. Tell me if you've had a near-death experience or if you know someone that has. Share it down below. I see all the comments. I'll respond back to you. And don't forget, hit the like and subscribe button like you guys always do. It's amazing. So let's get this channel up into 1,000 subscribers. So yeah, thank you so much for watching as always. And there you have it. Near-death experiences. Is it real proof of life after death? Who knows? But I kind of resonate with it. I have a feeling that there is definitely more to it than what it seems. Definitely something's going on, man. But yeah, let me know your opinions down below. We'll see you in a bit. Ciao for now. Later.